people that was a neighbor of mine on Cape Cod for many years has passed away this week also.
And
So sorry.
So, that's what my poems are dealing with. This is the first one. I'll just read one out of the three, and if there's any time later, I'll read another one. This winter has brought unexpected nature. Its machinery of life has froze, broken down. Storms feel unkind with an attitude of disaster. All of this happening without my say-so.
oh,
I have
Go
a
ahead,
poem.
Louise.
I have a poem. You know, we don't have a lot of time, so it's nice to just keep moving forward. I have one called Marriage, and it's to Tanya, which is the wife of the author Wendell Berry.
Oh,
That's
nice.
good. It is a good one.
Marriage. How hard it is for me, who live in the excitement of women and have the desire for them in my mouth like salt. Yet you have taken me and quieted me. You have been such light to me that other women have been your shadows. You come near me with the nearness of sleep, and yet I am not quiet. It is to be broken. It is to be torn open. It is not to be reached and come to rest in ever. I turn against you. I break from you. I turn to you. We hurt and are hurt and have each other for healing. It is healing. It is never whole.
Ah,
ooh.
Wendell's always great to turn to.
That's great.
Who would like to be next?
I would like to tell two announcements I have, and I have a poem also. The announcement is that in 1996, April became National Poetry Month. So next month is National Poetry Month. And the
Yeah.
other thing I'm going to tell you is that there are a lot of organizations that will send you a poem online every day.
Yeah, I get
get
one.
mine- Do you? I get mine from the Poetry Foundation, my sweet home, Chicago. It's the oldest English language poetry organization in the world, and they will send you a poem every day, even Saturday and Sunday.
Ah,
So I'm going to read you my poem for today. It's called When a Tree Throws Its Fruit at My Feet, a poem for two voices. Me. Whoa, a free fruit for me. I can reach it from the sidewalk, which means it's legal, I'm told.
oh, you froze.
And I thank you.
Oh.
Me. Gotcha. Now I'll carefully carry home this treasure for my pleasure. Tree. There's another one you can have if you're worried about legality. I think with your long arms and legs, you might keep one foot on the walkway, the other on the soil surrounding me, and rescue that little greenish yellow fellow. See him? I assure you it is tasty and ready to enjoy. Me. Maybe I'll grab that other one. Why not? May as well be taken to jail for two as well as one. Anyway, I believe in found art, so why not found fruit as well? Tree. There she goes. See how carefully she's holding them? Not squeezing, just a gentle open palm, holding two of my yearly offerings. Bye-bye.
Ah,
Very,
That's me for today.
good, good.
very cute.
It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you know of the 60s, early 60s, New York School of Poets.
The New Yorkian?
John Ashbery, Kenneth Coe,
Sure.
and Ted Barrican was late 60s. They write in that style of pulling out things.
I didn't know it was a style, but thank you.
Yeah, well, somewhat, yeah.
Yeah,
Close
thank
to
you.
it. It's your style, but it's a little close to it.
Yeah, I'll look them up.
You'd like to read?
Yeah. So I wrote this a few years ago. Let's see, it would have been 2 years ago. Emily was turning 30, and it was really hard to comprehend that I had my youngest child in the style of, oh shucks, what are they called? What are those called? Darn it.
Limerick. Limerick.
Thank you. There was a young lady named Emily, is the name of it. There was a young lady named Emily who belonged to the Gasca family. January 5th, she was born. Time to celebrate. What a morn! Her parents were so glad they were trembly. The fact was, she was the Gasca's second child. She looked up at us and gave us a gassy smile. Quickly greeted Kevin, her brother, who was almost 7, and he was instantly lovingly beguiled. It's so fast that the years have gone, it just seems like they have flown. For all of a sudden, our daughter, who is sweeter than anyone oughter be, is 30 years grown.
Ah,
Nice.
Nice.
sweet.
Who would like to read next? Anyone?
Ethel?
Ethel?
Okay. Well, this one is one I wrote in January, 2 months ago, called Chaos. I have learned over time to accept with some benevolence, or at least forgiveness, many unwanted guests in the salon of my psyche. Pettiness and greed, immodesty and prejudice, sloth and self-delusion among the multitude. But my mind holds fast to a love of control. I learned it early on, and it served me well to a point, kept me focused and seemingly safe. It became a dependable refuge, a faithful guide, steering me toward the known and the knowable, guideposts in the realm of the familiar. And yet, I have also known the beauty of wildness, the power in succumbing to the flow of an undammed river of truth, within and without, overflowing confines of security and comfort. I have known rebirth from the ashes of loss, of calamity, of despair. Am I ready to make a friend of chaos? The least welcome guest in a home where the bed is always made, where there's always a light shining against the total envelopment of night? Chaos, the enemy of clarity, the devastating fire in the belly of the earth beneath our feet, is also the gateway to renewal of life, to fertility of earth and of spirit. The ground knows it has little to lose as it opens itself to the muddy chaos of early spring. Perhaps I am almost ready to open the gate to deliverance from certitude, letting the unruly waves of freedom crash upon the silliness of safety, gently washing away the illusion of control.
Great.
Oh, man.
Wow. Wow.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was a long one.
No, don't
Good,
worry.
long ones are
Don't
good.
worry. It
No
doesn't
problem.
Sorry.
Jane or Dale,
Yeah, I have something a little
okay.
along lighter lines. I don't know when I wrote this, maybe 10 years ago. Pedro, it's called. Pedro the pigeon, all plump and freckled gray, lived atop the sea castle in Santa Monica by the bay, until one night a fire came roaring through the halls, bringing down the rooftop and blackening the walls. So Pedro left the ledge he lived on atop the castle roof and flew searching for a new home, one more fireproof. He tried at first a doorway, then the bike path by the sea. He even tried a gas station, a church steeple, and a tree. Although these are the kinds of places pigeons like to call home, Pedro wanted something different, a place to call his own. So every day he searched, flying long and looking hard, till suddenly he spotted something down on Lincoln Boulevard. It had 3 rooms with windows, the perfect shape and size, painted red, green, and orange. It was a birdhouse in the skies. So when next you're at the bay visiting Santa Monica City, take a look up at the signal lights and you'll see Pedro sitting pretty.
Hey,
Oh,
that's a good one. I like that.
so cute.
Ah,
Sounds like it could be like a children's book.
Was that inspired by you seeing a bird?
Absolutely. We started to notice the birds sitting up in the traffic lights, and I guess it was because it's warm.
Oh,
Uh,
And then the castle burnt down, and so I just, put it together.
oh,
Great about this, everybody's piece is so different.
Yeah.
I love it.
mhm.
I found a poem that I saw at the beginning of the pandemic, and now when we're getting closer to the end, it kind of bridges, I think. But it's written by, I don't write poetry. It's written by Kitty O'Meara. I don't know who that is.
ah,
So it's the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed.
Ooh.
wow,
Ooh.
very good. Wow.
it's great.
Who's the author?
Is a woman named Kitty O'Meara, Meara.
Is there a date on it? I mean, was it written during the pandemic or no?
Yes, it was written at the beginning of the pandemic, actually,
Ah.
I think.
How did you find it?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Somebody,
We're
Sent
glad you did.
yeah.
I realized I was muted. I said, may it be so.
Ah,
Really?
that's true.
Wow.
Hi.
I get
Well, you have something that you'd like to share with us?
Well, long as we're doing our own, I'll do one from about 40 years ago.
Sure.
Good, good, good.
When I was thinking about church and was following my mom to one of her churches and not doing very good with the results, but here's mine. I found it, hallelujah, a reason for living, to be loved and be loved. Okay, I forgot it. To be loved by one other being. It needn't be masses, not rows upon rows, just removing a thorn from one budding rose. My reward for all this, well, why wait to the end when I can have life's greatest treasure, one true friend?
Ooh.
Oh,
Great.
Wow.
great.
Wow.
Did you write that?
Yeah,
It sounds like you should be in a book and you sound professional.
Wow. That was good.
That was great.
Yeah.
By the way, this session is being recorded.
oh, that was revealing.
If you don't, it's
I
going to go
want
on
my royalties.
It's going to go up on YouTube. Probably no one will look at it, but I'm going to look at it and listen to that poem again. But if you don't want your thing, I can edit you out. Just let me know.
It's
It's okay. All right. I'm just saying that. Okay.
This is another one I wrote actually this afternoon. A friend dies, winter becomes colder, gardens turn fragile. Clarity is stared down by sadness. A long march through the bare bones. All leaves have fallen from me. Yet the tree still stands protecting itself, still alive and recognized, even when the winds wail.
And the winds are wailing today.
Did you just write that for your friend, Freddie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you especially fond of haiku? Your poems all sound like you could also have them in the haiku form.
Yeah. I tried. I've been trying to scale down my poems and lately, and yeah, I could find a haiku maybe in there pretty
Yeah,
well.
the less is more idea. I like short myself. Thank you.
Chuck, do you have one?
No, I don't have it.
Okay,
I'm just-
I can go next. Everybody has had a turn. I've marked off.
I got to step away, but I can hear very well
Okay.
throughout the apartment.
This is another Wendell Berry. It's called One of Us. Must another poor body, brought to its rest at last, be made the occasion of yet another sermon? Have we nothing to say of the dead that is not a dull, mortal lesson to the living? Our praise of heaven blunted by this craven blaming of the earth? We must go with the body to the dark grave, and there at the edge turn back together. It is all that we can do, remembering her as she is now in our minds forever. How she gathered the chicks into her apron before the storm and tossed the turkey hen over the fence so that the little ones followed, peeping out of the tall grass, safe from the lurking snake. How she was one of us, here with us, who is now gone.
Ooh. Isn't he the man who lives on his father's farm
In
in
Kentucky.
Kentucky? Yeah. Yeah, he's quite good. He's lived there. He doesn't use machinery. He plows with a horse.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he wrote some great poems. Jim Kahn used to use his poems for reading sometimes.
He's written novels and essays too. I'm reading one of
I
his.
use him all the time.
Really?
Wow.
Ethel is my first writing teacher from 1993.
Ethel, are you far off? You're from another area, aren't you?
Well, now I'm living in basically Portland, Oregon.
Well, that's far off.
But I was a member of the church for over 20 years. So
Yeah, I heard you last time when you read, and I knew that I thought you were that lady.
yeah.
I have a book called A Coney Island of the Mind. It's poems
Oh,
by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. And he died this past
Yes,
month.
he did.
And he's famous and important because how he stood for poetry that other people wanted to put him in jail for, like Allen Ginsberg. And he has a bookshop also. He died at 100, I don't know, some huge
Wow.
age. And this is a really short one. It's not typical. I don't think his poems are. Anyway, here's a really, really short one. It says, "See, it was like this when we waltz into this place. A couple of papish cats is doing the Aztec two-step. And I says, Dad, let's cut. But then this dame comes up behind me, see, and says, you and me could really exist. Wow, I says. Only the next day, she has had bad teeth and really hates poetry." He's not I don't think he's the best poet we have, but he was important.
Yeah, he would. I won't go into the whole story, but I met him in the 1980 or 81, and he got pissed off at me for some things I said and wouldn't talk to me the rest of the evening. And I was running a newspaper, and the other people, we had a very, very small staff, 4 people, and we were all excited that we might get an interview with them, take them out to breakfast or something. And I had to go back and tell everyone there was going to be no interview.
And it was all your fault.
It was my fault.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'd really like, if it's all right, to read a poem by Lucille Clifton,
Oh, yes.
She's
all right.
good.
partially in honor of Women's History Month,
Okay.
and partially because she was such a force as a Black woman in the middle of the 20th century. I've been doing so much reading and studying of roots of our racism that I've just bought this book. It's called African American Poetry, 250 Years
Oh, wow.
of Struggle and Song. And she's in it. And this is one of her poems that I've always loved. Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay. My one hand holding tight my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
Oh,
Wow.
I wrote this when I was in college. I was taking a poetry class, and it was the first time that I was away from home and I had some quiet in my life. So it's called When I Leave This Lonely Beach. When I leave this lonely beach, I will have left my footprints clearly in the damp sand by the water's edge. Perhaps it matters to no one that I have been here at all. Perhaps this point in time and space was reserved only for me. Is it enough that I enjoy the interval if no one else bears witness? Though proof that I have walked here will soon no longer exist, does that make digging my toes in the soft, wet sand any less joyful? I think I understand now. It is no matter that the imprints will soon be swept away by the waves. The better then, for this is my experience, truly my own.
Could you repeat that last sentence, please? I didn't quite hear it.
Actually, I read it wrong, so I'll read it the way that it's written. It is no matter that the imprints will soon be swept away by the waves. The better, for then is the experience truly my own. Yeah, for the first time I had some quiet in my mind, having kind of a chaotic family, and I had times to myself. It was really special, really wonderful.
Oh, good.
Wow, that was nice, Jean.
Joanne, did you want to read something else?
Well, the only other thing I have right here with me is the other pandemic poem that came with the first one.
Okay.
You want to hear another one about?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Okay, this is by Lynn Unger, written a year ago.
She's a friend of mine.
Oh, you sent me that first one then, Ethel, as well as this one. She wrote this poem almost a year ago, March 11th, 1920. And it's called Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Oops, sorry. Let me leave her a message. Okay. Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear.
Read below us all.
Do not reach out your hands. Sorry, this is my soon-to-be 94-year-old friend who doesn't always track. Reach out your, do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, as long as we all shall live.
Oh,
Oh my.
Beautiful.
yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
Beautiful.
I love that. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. So what we've been living, right? Not supposed to touch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now you can hug if you're vaccinated.
Oh,
It's more of a short than a
Go
poem. Okay, am I good with a short?
Yeah.
Okay. It's called Scared to Eternity. VP 11 Squadron, Guadalcanal, South Pacific, August 1942. Dear Mother, when I left home to join the Navy, I was resigned to the fact that I would die in this war. It was just a matter of time. So to make it easier on you, I never wrote. But last night, something happened to change my mind about all that. I'm a bombardier gunner on a PBY-5. That's a Navy seaplane. It's large and slow with twin engines. We patrol and scout. We'd just learned that the enemy was in the seas off Guadalcanal, so it was decided to surprise them with a torpedo run under the cover of night. My crew volunteered. We would be the only plane flying to attack a huge enemy fleet of aircraft carriers, battleships, and supporting craft. We took off about dusk. After flying for 5 hours, we made out the black shapes of the fleet in the seas ahead. By now it was midnight, but we had the light from a big blue moon. I was assigned to the forward gun. I fastened a strip of canvas webbing around my waist and hooked a thin steel cable into it as my safety harness. The other end of the cable was fixed to a strut inside the plane. I opened the hatch to the night sky and braced against the rushing air to rig the machine gun. I was ready. The pilot told me to shoot out any searchlights, although so far the enemy was in darkness and we appeared to be undetected. With 10 miles to go, we dropped to 50 feet above the waves and started our run toward the fleet. A battleship, silhouetted as we flew up moon, was our target. About a mile from the target, the co-pilot released the torpedo and it dropped from beneath the wing. Ma, when that torpedo hit the water, the gates of hell opened. We were now the target. Every gun on every ship was firing at us. The whole scene was lit by bright white light from exploding shells. I started firing just as our pilot took violent evasive maneuvers and dived. I was thrown past the gun and shot right out the open hatch. I expected my harness to snap and that I'd be sucked into the roaring propeller. But then the plane banked and I was jerked back through the hatch and landed inside the plane with a thud. Before I had time to breathe, we dipped again and I shot out the hatch again. Shells were exploding all around me, ripping like metal fingers down the hull of the plane. The propeller blades were just inches away. Ma, I've never been so scared. It seemed like an eternity. Next time I fell back in the hatch, I was able to grab the gun and stay in the plane. I slammed the hatch shut, making my way to the flight deck. As we headed back to base, I must have been in shock. The co-pilot said, I looked like I'd seen a ghost. I really thought I was a ghost. So you see, Ma, having made it through that, I don't think this war can kill me now. Your loving son, Dallas H. Jones. P.S. I'm 18 now.
Oh my God, is that a true story from Dallas?
Dallas's father.
Wow.
Oh, it's a Bible story.
Did you write some of yourself into it or not?
No, that's how I wrote it
How
from
it
what,
came?
from what he told me, from interviewing him. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Who is his name is Dallas?
I was married to Dallas, and that
Were
was Dallas's father. Dallas
but-
1 and Dallas 2.
No, I understand that, but why didn't you, at the very beginning, he said something about, I'm not writing you. I didn't want to write you, Mom, because, was it because it was too scary or something? There was something way at the beginning. I wanted to remember.
Because I was resigned to the fact that I would die in this war. It was just a matter of time. So I wanted to make it easy on you. I never wrote.
Yeah, I thought that was really important and big.
Yeah, he lied about his age to sign up.
So did my father.
Yeah. And at
My
this,
father lied to get in the Navy, lied about his age. And
that's what Dallas did. He was also in Pearl Harbor when he signed up. He got assigned to Pearl Harbor, and that's when it all broke loose.
So did my husband, Sandy. He lied about his age.
well, I have another one. Within me is a struggle to stay warm and not cut down that inner tree that keeps me rooted. With its rings that tell a history of storms encountered, of struggles survived, and cold winds that go everywhere. Change now moves without notice or noise. In small patches of the garden, memories are slowly growing green.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Fred, I'd like a copy of that. I don't know how I can get it, but I would.
Maybe when everything comes together. Huh?
Yeah, when everything comes together, it's a deal.
Have you put it in a little booklet yet, Fred? That's what I've got this little
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
created
That's
for
nice.
myself.
That's sweet. Yeah, I love that kind of thing. Personal books and things. I have another one.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, this is from the Oxford Anthology of African American Poetry. Ray Durham. He was from Seattle, born in 1915, and he died in 1963. It's called To the Pale Poets. I know I'm not sufficiently obscure to please the critics, nor devious enough. Imagery escapes me, and I cannot find those mild and gracious words to clothe the carnage. Blood is blood, and murder's murder. What's a lavender word for lynch? Come, you pale poets, wan, refined, and dreamy. Here is a black woman working out her guts in a white man's kitchen for little money and no glory. How should I tell that story? There is a black boy, blacker still from death, face down in the cold Korean mud. Come on with your effervescent jive. Explain to him why he ain't alive. Reword our specific discontent into some plaintive melody. A little whine, a little whimper. Not too much, and no rebellion.
Uh-huh.
God, no, rebellion's much too corny. You deal with finer feelings, very subtle, an autumn leaf hanging from a tree. I see a body.
Oh, wow.
Whew.
Yeah. Who's the author?
Ray Durham, Durem.
The lady that's in Portland, what's your name? I'm sorry. Forgotten.
Ethel.
Ethel, are you still here?
Yes.
Ethel, you've been studying about Black poets. Do you know how to pronounce the organization that developed, I think in New York? I say Cave Canem, but that's not it. It's for Black people, to encourage Black people to write poetry. Cavecanem, I think. No, I thought, okay, I just thought maybe you would. I think it
No.
might be Latin and I'm not saying it right, so that's why.
Yeah, it could be cave
Avikanem.
canem.
What does that mean?
Watch
Does
out!
anybody
Watch
know?
out for the dog.
Ooh, maybe that is what it means, but it's an
It
organization to
be.
encourage black
Oh,
poetry in New York City
Oh, I
and
see it.
elsewhere.
It's spelled CAVE, cave, CANEM, cave,
Yeah. So
cave, canem.
canem would be the dog, and I believe cave is watch out for the
Oh.
dog.
Some sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I just Googled it. It means Latin, in Latin, beware the dog. That's
Yeah.
exactly-
oh, wow. Does somebody else have something to read?
Well, I have another. Oh,
No,
Go ahead. Or who else wants to read?
Jean has something too.
Okay, Jean, go ahead.
I want to hear yours.
Okay.
Yes.
This is from this year's solstice. I am grateful for the light that begins its slow, sure, steady return now that the darkest day is behind us. I welcome this testament to the pendulum of hope now on its upswing. However many obstacles still cling to the bell of time that continues to ring. I am grateful that these dismal days and weeks of disease and despair have taught me to notice the resilience of the will to live, the will to continue and to thrive. I notice this will in the smallest things, not the least of which is the heart inside of me that continues to beat through breakages and bandages too small to cover the wounds. I notice this will in the courage of everyone I know, fashioning a life out of heartache and loss, anxiety and fear, bravely giving meaning to the branches of support and of hope that we extend one to another as a lifeline in this time of pestilence and want. The idea of a great and common tenderness inspires my intents to find a purpose unfolding in the healing that will follow the dissolving of the fear, the dismantling of the plagues. I am attending to the world now more than ever in its need for my care, and I know I must start.
Hi, honey.
Oh, Chuck, mute.
And I know I must start with the speck in the universe known as myself. To save this world, we must all take the time to save ourselves, to know our healing essential to the thriving of the earth.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Yes. Who wrote that?
I did.
Oh, okay. Great. Great.
Good, that's even better.
Jean, did you say you had something else?
I've been reading poetry by Pablo Neruda. This one is called Keeping Quiet. This is especially meaningful to me this year because during the pandemic, I've learned to be quiet more. Keeping quiet. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing.
Wow.
What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count to 12, and you keep quiet, and I'll go.
Wow.
I love
You
Like
that.
keep quiet and I'll what?
Go.
Oh.
It's a shame, when the Chilean government, Allende's government fell, they stormed his house, but he was dying. And as far as I know, they just let him die. They didn't do anything to save him.
Hmm.
The soldiers.
Wow.
There was
He
an
was
opera. There was an opera written about him, and I heard Placido Domingo take his role. It's called The Postman. It was
Oh,
a movie, and it
yeah.
was an opera too.
That was a great movie and a book. I have the book, The Postman. I have one more about this. I lived in a city for 5 years called Newburyport and ran a newspaper, but which never made any money. So I started watching children because I was helping my business partner raise his son. I had all these small kids, and we lived next door to a family of 5, and they had their grandfather living with them. So I took care of him also. So this is Age Melts for Mr. Kent. His hair is wild white. He lies in his bed, his bones sway like a hammock, though trickled through a song from an untuned piano, waves of ocean flow wherever he looks. Once children danced in this little space, now only echoes of forgotten theater. Whenever he talks about it, the further away it gets. He sends messages to empty closets, recites lines of poetry which he has not thought about in years, worries about the gardens that have grown in his past. Now the weeds of time choke his seed. In his house, which he never leaves anymore, he remembers what it was like to ride back home, relics to be dug up and placed in museums.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I feel like we need to hear everything again just to appreciate each one. We've gone through so many.
Yeah, this
I have
is
a
a great session.
Well,
I
it'll
guess
be up on YouTube by tomorrow or so.
Okay,
Listen again. I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
I've
okay.
got a story poem if you want more, but you don't. We're done, I think.
Oh,
Well, it's 2:47.
Yeah, it's 2:47.
We're done.
We can time, and the second Tuesday of next month we'll be back.
Is there any reason we can't hear one more thing today?
Oh, well, we could, yes. Everyone want to stick around for one more? Go ahead.
Sure.
Carol, go ahead.
But the nature one? Okay. It's called Lost in Space. This space is not my space, thought the creature. If not my space, whose space? Did I lose my way? Never before had such a thing happened. My mother, my father, no one in my family has lost their way. My upbringing was fastidious. A mighty hunter am I. Never without a tasty meal or shelter went away. The storm, it was a mighty one, blowing blinding white, surrounding me, lone and far away, itself a mistake. I fly and fly, wings growing heavy, heavier with time. Something is wrong. What I'm doing is wrong. I can't stop, needing to stop. I can't stop. Down, down, and then down. Someone comes. Down, then found. Strange hands covering me, moving now. Strange sounds all about, enticed to eat, fed from a tube, wrapped and warmed. Time passes, more of the same. One day, the wrapping is removed, legs and wings stretched and smoothed. The small space surrounding me widens and widens. The air blowing over me feels the way I remember it. Food is supplied for me to tear apart. I grow stronger each day. How long has it been? Each daytime and nighttime, I fly almost to the sky, then down to the ground, finding water and food put there for me to hunt until one day, I am put into a very small space, taken somewhere. All is still and quiet. The space widens suddenly. I fly out and up high, then higher and higher, feeling good, feeling strong, knowing that I'm on my way to find that far off place, the place I've always known, the place I came from, my home. This is the story of a snowy owl found in downtown Chicago and nursed to health at a place where I used to volunteer.
Oh, wow.
So that's a snow. Yeah, he didn't belong in Chicago, and they didn't know what to do with him in the city, so they brought him out to the burbs where my place was, and they nurtured him back to health.
That's
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
nice way to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed some. My internet connection's acting up a lot again.
Oh, we
Yeah.
know.
Too.
Well, you can always hear it on YouTube, Joanne.
Very good.
What's it under on YouTube? What do we look for? What do we search
Church,
for?
Church in Ocean Park videos.
Okay.
Church in Ocean Park. Yeah. It'll
I
be
like
up by
background,
tomorrow.
Louise. I like your background, Louise. It's very
you.
artsy.
Thank you. We're having sketchbook revival again starting up.
Ah, yeah.
That's a free online art
Oh,
program.
oh,
26 lessons by different teachers. It's free, all
Wow.
free. I'm going to do that again.
wow.
Do they warn you ahead of time what materials they're going to need?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I joined up. I did it
I
last
have
year.
to say goodbye.
Bye, Fred. Thanks.
Fred.
Thanks, Fred.
Oh, thanks for coming.
See you
Thank
soon.
you, everybody.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you
Ethel.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Lovely break.
everybody.
Hi, all. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Write a poem next time.
Good to see you all.
Back. Bye.